Alright, so let me start this video by saying hard work will not make you rich or successful. Now that's a bold statement, so let me explain. Obviously, you need some form of hard work. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because, whenever something comes to my mind, I feel like there's a very important point to make around it. Now, I want to make it clear that this video is not to bash on people who are taking a 9-to-5 job. I have no idea why online, in the online money-making space, that has become like such a thing. People who are working from 9 to 5 are honestly the most honest, hard-working people you'll know. So this is not to bash on people. We have to take our that which we should be grateful for. We should remember that, because if it wasn't for God's grace, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I have right now. You wouldn't have had the opportunities you have. And that doesn't mean you're lucky. If you're one of those people who just look at someone who's got some success and say, oh, you're lucky, just click off. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't change your life. It doesn't change that person's life. There's no point to it. Obviously, someone had to work hard to get somewhere. But at the end of the day, we also have the grace of God. And we have to understand that. But the point that I was trying to make is, surely construction workers who are working extremely hard, day and night, carrying heavy items like hard labor for hours on end, they should be the richest people in the world. But the reality is different. If you think about it, right, the only thing that distinguishes people is what they're doing. And for me, that's the big thing that I noticed, right? So I've been very grateful. I was at the right time at the right place, but I also put in a lot of work. So you work very hard to be lucky, and you deal with a lot of failure in order to become lucky. I always say, like, people, they can point to you now and say, wow, you're so lucky. But they forget about the years when they were buying cars and telling you don't have a car. When you were putting in the work, when you were trying to build something and they were chasing, a job that just instantly pays them so they can get a car. So for me, it's important to remember that kind of stuff as well. But I think the whole point I wanted to get to is just how, I've been fortunate to have the right knowledge as well. And to this day, I still try to learn. And I truly believe that if you're not where you want to be in life, like, you have to listen to those who are where you want to be. I do this every single day. There's so many people so far ahead of me. I need to take that advice. I need to take it into consideration and analyze it, right? I can't just decide like I know everything and I know exactly what to do. But I think a really good point of what I was saying at the beginning of this video is, if you think about it, right? Let's say you study, right? Let's say you go to university and you're trying to become a doctor. Just logically think about this for a second, right? Because we're all under the impression like, oh yeah, that's the way to do it, right? Go to university, study something big. But let's think about it for just a second. Now, again, this is not bashing or saying that that is a wrong step to take. If we didn't have doctors, the world would be horrible. So it's the most important thing. But just hear me out. You're studying the most important thing to become a doctor. First of all, you need really good grades when you're in school. You need to be like one of the best in your class. And I'm pretty confident that most of you watching this video is like me. Nothing exceptional in school, right? But in terms of points. But I mean, let's say you were. So you study to become a doctor. It could take you 6 to 8 years. Let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Add 6 years, okay? So you're 24, 25. Now, you've just made, let's say you finished your studies, right? You're a doctor. Now, you make, let's say, $100,000 a year, which would be a really good salary. So you're not working your way up. You're not waiting to become like, one of the senior specialist doctors or anything like that. Just from the start, everything went perfect. You're making $100,000 a year, which is great, okay? But you have to remember that you're paying 40% to tax. So you're left with 60, and if you live on half of that, that's going to be $30,000 a month or $30,000 a year, all right? Still probably not bad, but on that rate, and this is if everything goes perfect, in 30 years, you will be a millionaire. You will have $1 million. And that's literally it, right? By then, it's probably not worth much anymore. So that's just a little something to take into consideration, because that is most people's thought process when it comes to how to become rich. They just think, I should have studied harder in school. I should have done this. I should have done that. When in reality, there are tons of people literally online making that $1 million at 18. A lot of them are making it in their 20s. A lot of them are making it in their 30s. So you have to think differently to that. And yes, this is just my opinion. But I mean, these are factual. We talked about, how hard work alone won't make you rich. You need to also be in the right vehicle. When you think about it, if I'm driving a bicycle, right, I can pedal as hard as I want to. I will never beat the Lamborghini next to me. No matter how hard I work, I can't do it. Okay, so you need to understand that. That is a very important mind shift, I would say, to have. For me, I've been fortunate. You know, I got into this. I grew up in a small town. I was like, hey, I want to make content. I want to, you know, do this fun thing. And thank goodness it worked out. But in reality, you know, TikTok took off in 2020. That's not where I make my money today, but it was a great starting point. And at that stage it worked. And I was very grateful to be in that. But I mean, because I took something so bizarre, it paid off in the end. And you know that there's this saying that to achieve extraordinary things, you need to have extraordinary thoughts. And that's very, very true. Where a lot of us, you know, we feel pressure to think like everyone else. But when you think like everyone else, you end up where everyone else tends to be. And that's a good point I wanted to lead into is if you think about it, how many people will criticize you and then you actually listen to them? How many people, like, just think of something small, like so many people are convinced like buying a house right now is like the best investment move because they've probably been told that by someone who inherited wealth. If you think about it, how many people actually tell you, hey, I've got rich parents? People don't really say that. Right? It's not something they really take pride in because they want you to think that they worked for it. So what happens is those are the people who tell you, oh, I bought this house. And then you see a rich person with a house and you think that's what you have to do. When in reality, if you look at today's world, if you look at pretty much any, you know, smart, I'm not pointing to myself, and if you look at any smart person online, making money online, all of the big ones, they're saying the same thing. Buying a house is not an investment if you stay in it, right? If you are tied up for 30 years, if you stop paying that, you will find out whose house it is. If you stop paying that for just 1 or 2 months in that 30 years, you will quickly find out who it is and then you get nothing. So we are convinced like, okay, well, this is an investment, this is a good move. Yeah, if you rent it out. But in reality, if you're going to pay double what you could have paid, you're just losing money. You're stuck in a place. You can't enjoy your life while you are young. And that's the point I wanted to come back earlier as well. It's if you're making that type of money by the time you're 60 years old, remember that you're gray, you're slow, and pretty much all that time has passed. The one thing you would want to do with the money you have is to go back in time and enjoy it when you were young. So for me, it's quite important to try your best to have that success at a young age. If someone gets out of a Lamborghini and he is 65 years old, that is impressive. But I mean, it's kind of like in a little bit expected, right? If the guy gets out of the car and he's 33, that's very impressive, right? Because you know he can enjoy his life. He's got all this time ahead of him. By the way, I don't believe that you should ever give up, but that's just a good point to look at. And yeah, back to the house thing. It just feels to me like, you know, why are people saying, hey, this is an investment? Most people are doing it because they feel like now they're doing the right thing. They feel like they can say they own the home, but they don't. It's still the bank's house. If you bought it cash, sure, you can call it your house, but you didn't. You're paying rent technically to the bank, and then in 30 years you get the house. By then you're old. You couldn't move around. You wasted so much extra money. You were paying double on that. Money you could have used to do something else and truly enjoy your life. You know, if money is just going out every single month, that's a liability. The only thing that's making a profit for you or that's an investment is something that's bringing money into your account. But these are the things that we just blindly believe and just think without even doing any research, without picking up a book, without talking to people who are actually doing it. So I think a good thing that I've learned and I've been fortunate to do in my life is to listen to what other people are saying. Listen to the people who are where you want to be. Because most of the time, if you're hearing bad advice, it's probably, you know, if you're getting critique and they're hurting you, or criticism, and it's hurting you, oftentimes it's coming from someone below you. Now, I truly don't believe that anyone is above anyone else. Like, I just don't, because anything could happen to you today. And then you give anything to switch places to be in a better position. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, if someone is not success-wise where you want to be, why are you listening to them? Why are you taking advice from someone who's giving you this horrible advice? And people will tell you to give up on your dreams. And there's this saying which is really, really good. which says that, you know, on your way to the top, people will root for you because you remind them of them chasing their dreams. But once you reach it, they will cheer against you because you're reminding them of what they gave up on. And that is so, so true. The amount of people who come to you who don't support your goals, people from the start who are criticizing you, who are telling you like, yeah, this will never work. Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? You know, those people, they came out of a place of hate. They came out of, and usually, no joke, like 100% of the time, these are people who haven't really achieved much, right? Again, you're not better than them, but neither are they. They haven't achieved much. But every person who you see who have been successful, when I met like CEOs, you know, obviously massively, you know, it was like, I was intimidated. I was like, oh, well, you know, this guy's probably going to be a jerk. He's very rich. They were like the nicest guys. They're like the most supportive. They are the guys who will tell you like the drama in their life that they currently have with their wife, even if you're just a stranger to them. These are regular people, right? And we are kind of like taught to believe like, oh, it's so evil, you know, money and this and that. When we're getting so much criticism from our own, you know, friends. So to me, that's something that I learned a lot. And I think that's something you have to look beyond. Like, people are going to be cheering for you on your way up. But, you know, once you're there, they just don't relate to you, and they kind of feel like you're just lucky, and, you know, it just hurts them to see how well it's going. And that doesn't apply to everyone, because a lot of people will be very, very supportive of your goals. Those are the people you need to listen to, because guess what? They're probably the ones who are a lot further in their journey than you are. And that's something that I've learned and noticed so many times. Whenever someone comes up to me and shakes my hand and says, wow, I saw you on the TV, or that was incredible. The guy's usually a lot richer, a lot more successful than I am. But usually it's when someone comes and says, oh, what are you going to do if your career doesn't work out? That person usually is not really doing that well. And that's not to bash on anyone. It's just the truth. If you look at a video like this and you think someone's bragging, I literally said, like, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. If you think someone's bragging, just click off the video. It doesn't help you, doesn't help me. There's no point in it if we're actually just trying to help each other. You will never be judged by someone who's ahead of you. You'll only be judged by someone who's behind you. And don't go down the mountain to talk to that person. So, you know, those are just my takes. I see so many people who, you know, I feel so sorry for, who I feel like they can achieve so much, but they're even just, you know, too scared to take out a camera. You know, maybe they want to be a social media star. Maybe they want to start their business on social media, but they're just so scared of that hate. But if you just remind yourself of what I said here, like, trust me, it is so, so true. Like, go into that person, go into Kevin478's comment. If that's a real account, I'm so sorry, like, I had no idea. But go into that comment and just look at the bad comment, go into his profile, and you'll see, like, you know, what's this person doing? Why am I listening to him? You know, why? I believe you can learn from everyone, but everyone just gets bad comments. Like, if you're scared of a bad comment, go into your 5 favorite creators' YouTube channel. Look at the comments. There's so many hate comments. Like, people are just so negative when it comes to it, because it reminds them of what you're doing that they're not implementing in their lives. So I think it's really important to take action and to get to the point that I had at the beginning of this video. You know, yes, you do need some form of luck, but I truly believe that the harder you work, in a sense, and on the right thing, the luckier you get. You know, similar to golf. You can't go out and just say, I'm going to hit a hole in one. But the more you practice, the better you get. The odds of someday getting that hole in one, you know, it becomes a lot clearer. And it's the same with a career. Like, make sure you're in the right vehicle. Don't fall into the pitfalls that so many people are. I believe that what I said about the house example earlier, like, that's a trap. You know, if you're buying it to stay in it, that's a trap. It's costing you so much money. Your life is just going to pass by before your eyes. When in reality, you know, you want to also become rich young. So, you know, this is not about money. You know, you have to have your health, your family, your relationships, your relationship with God, everything sorted out. But to just blindly say, like, I don't need money, you know, and then tomorrow morning you wake up early to go work for a boss until 5. I mean, you're just lying at that stage, right? I mean, that is hypocrisy right there. Like, don't say you don't care about money and then you're at your job probably right now or going to your job tomorrow. So, you know, these videos are meant to help people. I've been fortunate. I grew up in a very small town. I made my first content pieces. I made videos. I tried to go viral. I had all these failures ahead of me, but you know what? Like, I was not shy to say, like, I don't have a car yet. You know, I truly just believed in you know, putting in the work. But to be honest, like, yes, I worked hard, but there are people working a lot harder than me who are stuck at a regular job. So for me to bash at that person would be horrible, because it's just not true. You know, I had the right opportunities, but I was also in the right vehicle. I also believed in what I knew, and God has also been obviously very, very good to me. But I think that if you just have this perspective over life, like, you'd be quite surprised at how well things can go forward. But you know, just opening your mind to listening to others and listening to those who are actually where you want to be, so that the next time that you do get criticism, you just remind yourself, think about the criticism you're getting right now, or what people are saying about you which negatively hurts you. Just think about that, and just think, would you really want what that person has? Because if the answer is no, why are you listening to them? Because it's their advice that's gotten them there. And yeah, just some thoughts. Obviously, I would appreciate if you guys subscribe. But yeah, hoping this channel can inspire some people from, you know, the younger generation to the older generation. I've been very fortunate and blessed with what God has put along my way. And yeah, I know that, you know, if you truly believe in what God can do, then some amazing things can happen.